Can we welcome the panel to the stage, please? So the panel is how I grew my business on eBay, and what we're going to do start is first by introducing ourselves. So if we can please start, go ahead.
So I'm Ross McGill. Our family business is McGill Motorsport. We sell parts and components for race cars and accessories for drivers, and we've been on eBay for 18 years.
I'm Daniel Haig. I'm the commercial director of ClearCycle. We work with retailers to help refurbish and sell their returns, specialising in furniture and housewares.
Hi, I'm Hannah. I run an online party games brand called Hannah's Games. Yeah, that's me.
Hi, I'm Yinka, and I run a pre-owned vintage and modern fashion business. Yeah, that's me.
Oh, that's fun. Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm from Nikki Bradford. We have a family business. We sell pre-owned luxury fashion.
Great, thank you very much. So we're going to start off with an easy one. Is how did your business start? And it's for everyone, so we'll start from your side again.
Okay, yeah. So we started our business back in 2005. It was born out of a family hobby. My father was competing in motorsport at the time. And in motorsport, typically you have to either improve the car or improve the driver talent. And the driver talent wasn't improving very much, so we had to look and improve the parts that we were using on the vehicle. So we developed some products. We then uncovered a bit of a demand locally for that. eBay provided the platform for us to then actually take this niche product to a worldwide marketplace. And from there we were just, it was myself and my two parents that were working in the business at the time, and I was full-time at university and they both had full-time careers, so we just had to sort of pitch in and take the business as it went. But I could recall having half of our stock in the boot of my car each week as I went away to university, and picking and packing orders on my lunch break and rushing them down to the post office. It's still a vivid memory for myself, and we were always focused on getting that lightning fast dispatch, and that's still something that we think is very critical today. So yeah, after a period of a few years, my mum had to leave her job to set up working full time in the business, so she done that, and eventually I had to get a car with a bigger boot, and then going from there, I graduated just in time for the great financial crisis in 2008, so it wasn't the best time to get an engineering job, but I came into the business and worked from there, and I've never looked back.
Great stuff, thank you.
So, Cliff.
Thank you all.
So ClearCycle was created 7 years ago by our founder, Richard O'Connor. He was a retailer who didn't like what happened to his returns. He never liked the financial reward he got for the returns. He didn't like the fact that he sold them to traditional exit channels like auction house or jobber, and there was little or no brand protection. And as he didn't know what happened to the stock, you don't know what kind of environmental damage has been done, how much is being landfilled, fly tipped, or indeed just excess mileage. So they were the three problems he wanted to solve. He originally looked at the tech refurb market, where you get laptops, mobile phones, refresh them and sell them back to consumers. Liked that, but realised that was quite a crowded market. So looked around for other problem categories and quickly fell onto furniture. 11% of furniture that goes out online comes back because it's wrong size, wrong colour, doesn't meet someone's comfort expectations or whatever it is. So really started the business to try and solve those three problems. Spent 3 years keeping the business intentionally small whilst he perfected it, and then I joined 3.5 years ago, and we've grown dramatically in quite a short period since then.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's very close to our eBay values as well, right? So fantastic. Thank you. Hannah?
Hello, yeah, so I'm Hannah. I'm not really a businesswoman. I was a teacher, an English teacher, so no spelling mistakes, thank you. And I've had a lot of ill health. I've got something called Crohn's disease, so I used to have quite long spells off work, and I used to sell on eBay just for something to do because I couldn't leave the house or anything. And then I did something really disastrous for my career in 2015, that I had a baby. My boss seemed to think that I wasn't worthy of being a leader in a school anymore, and I was completely worthless. So I told him where to shove his job. And now I sell on eBay, so that's how I started. And here I am on a stage talking to a bunch of business people. So
Yeah,
cool.
that deserves a round of applause. Brilliant. Love to hear it. Yinka, over to you.
So I'm Yinka, and I actually started my business in 2017. I was 19 at the time, and I was a university student. What triggered me to get started with it was the fact that I was seeing my mum sell on eBay. She was selling cosmetics, and I was seeing her have success, and she even used to get me to package her orders and stuff like that. So I thought, why not? Why can't I jump on it and try and sell something that I'm interested in? And from a young age, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was that kid that sold things in the playground and stuff like that. So when I add into the fact that when at the time I used to go into charity shops as well. So because I came from a working class background, so buying branded clothing brand new wasn't really something that I had access to. And I kind of had a light bulb moment when I was buying these clothes, like maybe for like £3 a pop from a charity shop, and seeing that online, somebody would be willing to pay £24.99 for the same kind of jumper solely due to the convenience. At the time, it wasn't something I was really taking seriously like that because, again, I was at university and I didn't really have much funding to even really start things up. So I maybe had like about 50 to 60 listings at the time. But fast forward to 2020, I started learning more about the fast fashion industry and the effects that the textiles industry was having on the environment. And, I was learning about all sorts of wild statistics, such as, textiles contributing more towards climate change than aviation and shipping combined. And hearing stuff like that made me realize that, I'm sitting on a gold mine here. There's a demand for this, and this is something that solves an issue that is, as far as the environment is concerned. So fast forward to 2020, I started taking things more seriously. I went from not just dealing with charity shops to actually dealing with suppliers who have connections in Italy and Pakistan and all of these other countries where a lot of these clothes end up in landfill. And since taking things more seriously, we've been able to save 3,900 clothing items from going into landfill.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how I got started, essentially.
Yeah, brilliant, thank you. And finally, Nikki.
Well, we're fairly vintage in ourselves in the fact that we've been on eBay since 2004. It started as a hobby. I've always loved, we sell pre-owned luxury fashion. So like you, we're hopefully contributing to the sustainable future of fashion. So yes, it started as a hobby mainly. I'd had a career in the city. I'd been an accountant, worked in finance, so I understand something of business. But as I said, I was sort of looking after my family. I had lots of girls to be looking after. And then when they'd grown up, I wanted to return to the market, to the employment market. It wasn't easy. The city was not welcoming at all. I had children, I had responsibilities. God forbid, I totally get that. And so I just started, as I said, it was more of a hobby. So I started selling clothes that I'd had. I've always loved fashion. I've always bought secondhand because it's just amazing what you can find. I'd gone to secondhand shops. I'd gone to the local high street. There's always been a local high street place where you could go and consign your clothes, the things you don't want, and then buy things that you find, those lovely things that you've been searching for, that lovely pair of things, lovely item that you've wanted. So it was natural. Someone suggested that I go onto eBay to sell some of my things, so that I started, and then that was it. And everyone that comes in contact with me is just bitten by the bug of eBay. It's just insane. Who's out there to buy your items? It's fun. There are challenges, absolutely. We've had many challenges over the years, but it's just a fun thing. And we started at home. We now, about 6 months ago, we moved into our first premises of 2,000 square foot. We're now going to be moving to another one because obviously we want to attract good staff and we need better facilities, more in central London. So we're just carrying on. And last month, I know it's a really difficult marketplace this year for everybody, but if you want to sell, there are loads of opportunities out there. We had our best month ever last month, and even given this climate and the fact that August is notoriously quite a quiet month, we're very happy with the way things are going. And we just want to keep going. I mean, our industry particularly is in its infancy. You know, it's only just going to get bigger and bigger. It's just digitalizing it, using AI, and working out, you know, how to do things better. And eBay has really helped us with that. So we thank you guys for.
I will take all the credit. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. So the next question is, how many people work in your business now? What are your plans for that? And what kind of premises do you have, which obviously you've answered, Nikki. So we'll start off on your side again.
So currently we have 12 members of staff working in our business, 4 warehouse and 8 in our sales team. Our premises at this point is a 12,000 square foot warehouse with 2,000 square foot office space and a small showroom bolted onto the side of that, but we don't get much local trade being in a niche industry, so it's just a small showroom, but that's what we have.
So, so the business started 7 years ago. I joined 3 years ago. I was employee number 5, and there's 48 of us now. There's Tuba in the audience who was ahead of me. She was employee number 2, still with us. So our range is we have about 30-odd people working on our refurb centre in Chorley and Lancashire, and then the remainder are people that are doing the listings. We have software developers. So we occupy about 60,000 square foot in refurb and storage, and then let's say offices just around the corner by Manchester Airport.
Local.
Wow.
Thank you.
My employees aren't very local. I've got an outsourced team in the Philippines. So we've got 3 employees in the Philippines. Sometimes it changes depending on the needs of the business. So one of them has been with us since the very beginning, which is quite nice. And I've just taken on someone in the UK, actually. One of the core things about my business is I want a business which enables me to go about my life as I wanted to. As I say, I came into business because I became a mum. So I do want to still be able to do the school runs and everything. So that is an important part of the dynamic of my business. So I live on a very steep hill because I live on the foothills of Dartmoor, which is really south. I'm the softiest southerner. And so it's very steep. And then so we have a converted area in the bottom of our house that people can walk in and out. We've got an outbuilding, which is like a storage room and stuff. So we're still at home.
So I'm currently...
Oh, thanks. Thanks. Is that my mum?
People seem to like you, Hannah, so everyone's around of applause. Yinka, over to you.
So I'm currently a one-woman show, but my plans are to eventually merge my business with my sister because she sells the exact same kind of thing that I sell. Shout out to Thrift Hanger, you should search her. She sells the same kind of stuff that I sell. So we're at the point where it doesn't really make much sense for us to be doing it individually. So we're hoping to eventually get our merger sorted and then eventually amplify our success that way.
Thank
you. Nikki, over to you. You've already answered your question, actually.
I
You
have,
preempted it.
yeah, I
Anything
have.
you want to
Well,
add?
it's just the same thing. But I mean, yeah, we worked from home for many, I just want to talk about that a little bit because
Sure.
Lots of people will be working from home. Obviously, there are many different sizes of business. And it was a big challenge. Every room was just jam-packed in there. We used to joke that there was no room left for the family in the house. So it was just, we probably left it a little too long to move. But we're based in London, and unfortunately, premises are very expensive, and there are business rates, which is, I don't know what they're like elsewhere, but they're certainly in London astronomical. So yes, and you have to be really sure and committed. We were sure and committed, but it was still a big challenge, to pay those really high fees. But well worth it because it really opens things up. You can attract more talent, which is what you really need in your business. Families is really important, though. It's great having family support because you can really trust those people to be as invested as you are. It's very difficult. I'm sure everyone will say on the panel how difficult it is to attract the right people. But yeah, that's just it, really.
I think that's the story that a lot of people start from home, right? They start with every room and they build up. that's a part of the success story. So we're familiar with that. It's fantastic.
But I think that's one of the interesting things about eBay, because if you don't start an eBay business, people assume you've gone to the bank, taken out a massive loan, got yourself in loads of debt in order to get a massive warehouse and buy all this stuff. Whereas I think on eBay, a lot of us will have started, and the journey is part of it. You don't have to go and shell out loads of money and ask people for loads of stuff. You can do it that way, but it enables you to grow into wherever it is, and I think it's a really interesting point that you make.
I mean, as I've been told by eBay many times, eBay allow us to build our businesses unlike any other platform out there. They give us tools, and they say, right, you go and do it. Maybe sometimes you think, oh, yikes, could you give us some more help? But the value of being able to build your business means that you're learning it. You're learning and taking all the mistakes, but you learn from all those mistakes.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Great. So the next question is, how do you manage your business, and do you use any software and tools? And this is going to be aimed towards Ross first.
Yeah, so we use an in-house CRM system that takes all of our customer orders from various platforms into the system, allocates stock based on that, and in real time adjusts our stock levels on each platform. So it ensures that we're not selling stuff that we don't have actually in stock. And then we have a bolt onto that system which takes all of the orders, which countries they're going to, the weights, dimensions, and sorts out and decides which courier service they're going by, creates the mail labels, and they just are produced automatically.
Brilliant, thank you. And Nikki, the same question applies to you. How do you manage your business, and do you use any software tools?
Yeah, we use lots of tools. Initially, we were loading straight onto eBay, which is great, because you can have, like in fashion, you have the pictures and you can move them around and make them look great. And I now know it's really sophisticated. I'd love to go back to those days. But now we have an API, and it links to our website as well as eBay and a few other platforms as well. A big thing in our particular area is authenticity. I mean, buyers need to know that what they're buying from you is authentic. Absolutely, they should. They're spending a lot of money quite often. So we're bringing in that sort of software. There's some amazing AI software out there now. Many companies are doing that. In fact, there's AI for pretty much everything. I guess the challenge now is bringing it all together into one place, and it's just. But I think there are just great tools out there. And yes, we use a lot of the tools on eBay as well. We use the send an offer. That's a great favorite of mine. When sales are a bit low, I think, yes, I will send out loads of offers on the things that I can send offers out on, and we find sales come through immediately. We think, great. Really recommend that one, incidentally. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm a seller myself, and I use that offer.
I just love it.
It's brilliant. The next question is a bit of a, well, I'll change the wording.
Could I say something on
Yeah, of course you can. I'm not going to stop you.
We use loads of tools, but I would say be careful of too many tools. And I think, obviously, I won't be saying that next door because I know there's lots of tool people out there. But I just think sometimes it's easy to think, oh, that'll take all my problems away, that'll take all my problems away. And you end up with a massive software bill at the end of every month, which might not actually be, the cost of that tool might be more than the cost of the problem. And I think it's good once a year for us all to sit, because everyone wants to sell us a software, don't they? Everyone wants to sell us a software to do this, to do accounting, to do whatever. And I just think once a year you should sit there and audit it, because the price, it's like you sign up on a 50% bonus and it just goes up, up, up. So I think it's a good thing to use tools, but to be cautious of them and be.
Did you trial them? Did you trial every single tool that you thought you need first, and then decide to keep which ones? Or
it's just a thing that you fall into, that you go, oh, I'll trial it, and then it's 50% off for the first however long, and then you end up doing, I'm not talking about a specific tool, I'm just talking about the industry, and some of them are fantastic, and we use loads. Like I say, we've just taken someone on, and I can't believe how many we've got. I'm like, oh, you need to log in, we have but I do think once a year it's good to just sit there and be like, do we need that? Do we need that? Do we need that?
No, great advice, thank you. Go ahead.
I just want to add one more thing. I'm not sure if it was mentioned, but a tool that I've started using this year that has saved me personally a lot of time, especially if you're selling across multiple platforms, are cross-listing tools. And I know there's one called ZipSell that's really popular as well, where you can basically upload an item onto the cross-listings software and essentially zip it across eBay, Etsy, Depop, Shopify, you name it. And I think and Vinted as well is involved in that. So if you are selling across multiple platforms, that's a nice tool to just essentially streamline that process. Yeah.
Thank you. Great, thank you. Now, the next question, I want to rephrase it, because the question is, what's the biggest mistake you've made along the way? I want to rephrase that slightly to say, what's the best learning you've made along the way? And I'll keep it open. The questions are directed towards Hannah, Yinka, and Dan, but let's keep it open for learnings across the way. We'll start off from your side.
Is that okay? Yeah. I've made a few mistakes along the way. Of
learnings, not mistakes.
No, sorry, learning. Yeah, that's right. You either win or learn. So yeah, we've learned a few times. But our largest one, which is sort of business 101, I suppose, was that having been in business for multiple years, we hadn't registered our trademark of our logo and our brand name. It's a very simple mistake to make, but we actually learned the hard way. Going to register that, we actually had a competitor of ours directly register our exact logo. They weren't using it, but we were technically then counterfeiting the logo whilst using it ourselves. So, so a bit of a legal battle at the back of that, and certainly a learning. So something simple.
Great, thank you. Do you want to contribute anything?
Yeah, sure. Firstly, thank you for missing me on the technical question, because I'm
It's just that I interrupted.
very nervous. I don't know my way around that world at all. So our biggest challenges are around the brand of the stock and the grading listing. So the brand of the stock, and the brands that we sell, and we've kissed a few frogs on there. When we're selling stock on eBay, people search for a criteria. If you fall in love with a piece of furniture that's physically in front of you, that's what you like, and the brand becomes irrelevant because you like it. But if you're searching for something, then the brand's very, very relevant. So we can sell two products side by side, identical. One's carrying a brand, one isn't, and one will sell and the other won't, even though it's the same item. So that's a challenge. And then the other thing we've gone through is the grading. There isn't an out-of-the-box grading universal template for the UK. I know eBay's tried to introduce one for tech, which is an easier thing to do, but describing minor imperfections like a small scratch, a small dent, is quite difficult. So our grading has been our biggest challenge, and getting that accurately to describe to the consumer to say, you're not buying a brand new product, but these are the minor imperfections.
So how have you got around that situation yourself? Are you putting more detail in the listings, or is it taking more time? Or
No, so we have our own internal grading system. We take photos that are relevant. We use library images of the product, and then we have our own photo studio where we intersperse photos of the product where we say, but you need to look at this. It's in a white white background, so it looks very, very different. And we intersperse that. We've tried a few iterations of this, but we tend to use image number 3. So we showed the library images, and by image number 3, we're saying, but you're buying this. We used to have it as image number 7, but we found that people didn't even get that far, bought it, and then went, hang on, what about this? So, yeah, describing accurately, but not overselling and not underselling an item that has minor imperfections has been a challenge that we've gone through revolutions, and now we're into minor tweaks to try and refine it, to accurately describe it.
It's brilliant. It's good feedback and good learnings. Thank you. We're going to go on to, for the interest of time, we're going to go on to Yinka. Do you want to explain? No offense, Nikki. We'll go on to Yinka. Yeah, so biggest learnings or that you had, or mistake that you've learned from to get to where you are?
Sure, so I've got a few. So in terms of taking pictures, just ensuring that if you are selling something that is pre-owned, or even sometimes new stuff has defects, just to ensure that that's included. Because I remember when I was first starting out, and I was taking pictures of each individual clothing item, sometimes I'd get a bit lazy and be like, oh, I can't be bothered to take a picture of this defect and that defect. And I was getting a lot more returns or, neutral feedback because, the person has bought the item and they've liked it, but, something wasn't mentioned on it. So I would definitely say putting that effort into showcasing exactly the exact condition of the item itself. I'd say staying on top of correspondences as well. I've made losses as a result of not staying on top of my correspondences. I had an instance where a customer wanted to dispute a transaction, and solely because I wasn't staying on top of my correspondence, I completely missed the opportunity to provide tracking and stuff like that. And to cut a long story short, I ended up losing out on the money and the hoodie as well. So I'd say staying on top of correspondences. And lastly, I'd say in terms of how you title your listings, optimizing those listings to the best of your ability is definitely goes a long way. When I first started, I used to write very niche things in the title, and I'd have the listing that was was up there for like a year and it's only got like 1 view or 0 views. That's because it's so niche the way that I've put the title. So now I'm a lot more generic in how I title things. So if, obviously I sell branded pre-owned clothing, so I'd say something like Nike jumper, sweatshirt, and then put all the other niche stuff towards the ending so that when somebody does type in a Nike jumper, it's one of the first things that pops up.
Yeah, it's actually the first 5 words that you have in your listing are the ones that are most searchable. Beyond that, they're just irrelevant, really. So it's important that you make an impact with those first 5 words, and that's anywhere. That's not just, that's a Google search, actually, as much as an eBay search.
Thank you for that. What do you wish you'd known when you first started out? I think that question we're going to aim towards, Nikki, you first.
I don't really know. It was such a long time ago, and I don't really know when my business started being a business, because it was, you know, it was a hobby. I just remember one day eBay saying to me, "All right, you're a business now, that's it. You have to do all the things that all the big business people do," and you think, "Oh no." So what do I wish I'd known? I don't know. There's just so many things. There's so many challenges. I wish I'd had the confidence. Not that I have confidence now, but by just doing things day in, day out, you just suddenly sit down and you think, "Oh, that's really good. My business is doing okay." I wish I'd had that confidence for many years. You know, I just thought, "Oh, this is never gonna get where I want it to be." But you know, just keep going. I wish I'd known that, really.
Well, that's great, thank you. And I'll ask the same question to Ross as well.
I would say a few things. Certainly, having employed staff as we go, staff's your most valuable asset as you start to grow your business, and it is a challenging thing at the moment to employ the right staff. But you need to make sure you put the right time into getting the right people, and build a team around you, and find people that are better than you at the tasks that you don't like doing, and bring them on board, and they bring everything up in the business. So.
Yeah, thank you. And then we have one final question, and then I'm going to ask a question of my own, but we'll get onto that. Is, when did you decide to make the leap into moving out of your home/office or premises into where you are now? When was that decision made? Was it a financial decision? Was it when you're more comfortable? How was that? How was that discussion had internally?
Yeah, for us, I think there was a point I could put my finger on at which we said we need to move out of our. It was a double garage that we had at home, and it was when a customer turned up at the garage and just wandered in, and this was laid out like the world's tiniest warehouse that we had there. But the customer was just wandering the aisles, and we asked, "Can I help you with anything?" They said, "No, I'm just browsing." And when someone's browsing around your home, you know, it's probably time to look elsewhere. So.
Yeah, that's a red flag. That you know, it's good that you noticed that. I mean, did he buy anything, or was he?
No.
Oh right.
I was just in for a look.
Just browsing.
Yeah, just
Oh, yeah, that's what
It would have been part of one of your regrets or learnings, I guess, back then. But no, it's quite a funny story. We'll ask the same question to Dan as well.
Yeah, so when Richard started, it was also almost immediate. It was conceptual, so the first 3 months were just, how could it work? But as soon as you actually got into physical trading of furniture, you can't hold many triple wardrobes in your garage. So straight away, some premises were needed. So we worked with a 3PL, and that's just grown and grown and grown. You know, as I say, we started off with like 2,000 square foot, and now 60,000. So it's grown pretty big now.
Oh, that's brilliant. Over to you, Hannah.
I'm still at home. Could I answer the question about what I wish I'd known when I started? Because it is relevant. Yeah. I wish I'd known more people. Oh. Yeah, and I think that is really relevant. So, like, I'm now at a point where if I've got, when I say mistake, it begins with an F, so you're much more polite than me. I basically just phone someone. So I will phone, or I will message, or I will have somebody that I'll be like, "Oh my God." So the example I gave before is my accountant went bust. And if you Google, what do I do about that? What do I do about the fact my accountant's gone bust? I know, I'll Google accountancy gone bust. And you just get a bunch of accountants which are saying, "Why don't you hire me?" And what did I do? I phoned someone who's an online business, who knows all about that stuff, and they helped me out. And it's, so please be my friend so I can phone you, and you can phone me when there's a problem. So meet me for coffee, and we'll have we'll be friends,
That's
please.
very
'cause
true.
That's the thing you need.
That was also amplified under COVID. As soon as lockdown
Absolutely,
happened,
yeah.
you couldn't go and do a beauty parade. You couldn't get people in front of you and select someone. You had to phone a friend almost to say, what would you do in this situation? And the power of the network is huge. Not just giving, but receiving that as well. Offering that advice
exactly.
because, as I say, we've all made mistakes. And
So would you say something like this is very useful for networking, so you have those friends for maybe starter businesses or something like that?
But I don't think online business people, we don't call it networking. They're my friends. People are my friends.
True.
Like, that is a total, like, Chamber of Commerce thing to say. It's like, we don't do networking, like, people are my friends. And it's like,
Sorry.
oh my God, you're great. I love it. So I think it's a different thing.
Is this a great place to make friends?
Yes,
Okay,
be my
right,
friend.
perfect.
Please.
That is
Buy me a drink.
that's everyone's challenge today, to make at least one friend. Well, after me, that is. Okay, and we'll ask that same question to Nikki as well.
I'm sorry, what was the question? I
It was a
got
long time
completely
ago I
lost
asked the
it
question.
then.
Yeah, no, that's fine. When did you decide to make the leap? I think you've already answered that
Yeah,
question a
I
little.
have. As I
when you
said,
had
I've
no
been online and morphed since 2004, 20 years next year. We've literally only moved out. I mean, I'm lucky. I've had space, but my house, which has been trashed, there were boxes everywhere, and I left it way too long. We only moved out 6 months ago. We moved into 2,000 square foot. Already, we've outgrown that area. So yeah, we were just going to have to keep moving. I should have done that a long time ago, really. I think, yeah.
Well, that's great. And I know that you two are still at home.
Yeah.
Do you have plans in the future to do that? I know you're going to be working with your sister soon. And is there a point where you're going to think, right, I'm going to make that move?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, for sure. Eventually, so when we do eventually merge, our plan is to start hosting pop-up events, and then eventually we're going to aim to find our own permanent physical space, hopefully a store rather than a workspace.
A retail would work.
So I nearly moved out of our home office thing just before COVID. And I know for most people in the room, COVID was like really, really great, but not when you sell party supplies. It's not. So we had a very, very bad time for a couple of years. So now I'm ultra cautious. Our games are tiny. They're kind of like fit in your handbag for a night out kind of thing. So we can fit an awful lot in kind of like an outbuilding. So for the moment, I'm
No plans as
Mrs.
yet.
Cautious.
No, that's brilliant.
I mean, the thing for me that I would say to you guys is that you can actually get separation. It's really important to keep time because we will get so consumed. I mean, most people love their businesses so much they become over-consumed in their business, but it is important to have that separation, and you can do that when you move out, and you can take time for yourself. It's really important. You don't know how the years will just, you will be very successful, and time will just go, and you just, that's all I would say. Be aware of that.
I had that when it was when I was working from my spare room. I used to walk past it all the time, but the way our house is, it's on like a completely different story, so I can be away from it. But I take your advice. Thank you.
Thank you. And we've only got a couple of minutes to go. I've got one question because I think the thing that you mentioned before about your previous job and, your boss wasn't, do you have any regrets, or are you much happier now than you were before? Because I think it's probably quite a common thing that we don't hear about as much, right? So, I mean, the experience that you had was so do you feel happier now? Are you glad you made that move?
I'm so much happier than I was when I was in teaching. And I loved being a teacher. I really enjoyed my career. But I kind of I get to have it all now. So I get to take my son on the school run, do those things. I still get to have conversations with interesting people. I get to lead a business. I get to do all those things. And I really like it. I regret giving you that photo because I'm going to crop it next time. My head was in that photo when I sent it to them.
No, look, thank you very much. Can we give a big round of applause for everyone on stage, please? Thank you. It's invaluable feedback. We love having you here. Throughout the day, I'm sure people will come up to you and make friends with you, Hannah especially, but ask questions. But yeah, thank you again, and then we'll go on to the next session. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Cheers. Again, round of applause, please. Thank you.